Hello everyone, it's Sunstormpax here. Welcome back to the channel. How you all doing, everyone? You all staying safe during this big old hooba dooba? That's what I'm calling it. I'm just going to say hooba dooba at the end of every sentence that has anything to do with the big old virus. Hooba dooba. I've been watching a lot of Sonic Zombies recently. So anyway, I know this has been a long time coming, but it's finally here, so sit back, relax, and welcome to the stop-motion review for Transformers Siege Barricade. So, Barricade. Where to start? Well, first off the car mode. Barricade turns into a police car. Yeah, Decepticon police car, figure that one out. It looks really nice though, especially the black paint. I really like the way it's been done. Also, there's a grey stripe going over the top of it. I don't know how well you can see it here, but it looks pretty nice in person. And the best part of all is the purple used for the windscreen, the roof, and the wheels. It looks really nice. Especially with the silver paint underneath it, it really pops. Plus the white part on the door looks really nice. It really helps to break out the colour palette. Also, there is this strange Cybertronian marking message on it. I've no idea what it means. I assume it probably means something to do with the police. Or maybe to punish and enslave, I don't know. As for the mould itself, it looks really nice from pretty much every angle. Although I will say it does definitely look better on Barricade than any of his Autobot brethren. I mean, I guess Blue Streak looks alright, but Prowl and Smokescreen really don't suit the mould, at least not in my opinion. Now, on to accessories, starting off with the light bar. Yeah, this is a removable piece if you ever needed to. I don't know, maybe you want to turn someone else into a police car. I will say, Barricade doesn't look quite as good without it. I don't know, in my opinion at least, it just makes it look way flatter. I know. Anyone who's sitting in this will have no visibility, I can tell you that much. That said though, the light bar does attach to the roof via a 5mm port provided by the combat system, which means you can put other stuff in there if you want to. So maybe if you don't like barricades, you could put Red Alert's light bar in. Or maybe you just really like the big guns. Hey, I won't judge. He also comes with these two little guns that can be put into the front of the hood, so you can make him look like he's in a fast action battle. Honestly though, I'm not really a very big fan of this. I know they just look way too big in comparison to the car. But if it's your thing, it's your thing. Go mad with it. One little feature that I do quite like is that the door's open. Sure, there's no space to put anything in, but hey, at least it's there. Okay, so now it's time for my one problem with Assault mode. The battle damage. All Barricade really has is these scrapes in the bumper, but yeah, it's enough to look intrusive. We all know at this point about the Siege battle damage, how they're trying to make them look scraped and scuffed and all that because they're in the war, and a lot of people don't like it. Me personally, I'm alright with it in most cases, because in most cases it's not really all that intrusive. But in this case, I don't know, it would just have looked way better if it was just a completely clean alt mode. And I mean, others have done it. Mirage is completely clean, so yeah, you could have done it with Barricade as well. As it is, it just looks sloppy and it just kind of... It doesn't ruin the figure, it's just... I wish they hadn't done it. Otherwise though, this alt mode is great. Now, time for size comparison, and something that actually kind of surprised me was... Barricade's pretty small. Also, it's just me, or is Barricade the only Decepticon car former in Siege? I mean, he's definitely the only regular release one, and if you include the exclusive, it's... just Nightbird, I guess. Well, anyway, let's compare him to some other car formers. Here he is with Siege Sideswipe, who I personally think he scales pretty well with. Next up, Siege Mirage. And, again, I think that this works pretty well. Next off, Siege Prime, and I don't think this one works out quite as well, but I think it looks alright still. And finally, Siege Magnus. And, yeah. Same as Prime really, not really to scale, but still looks pretty good. And with that, I do believe the alt mode is now done. So, let's get down to the transformation. And here we have Barricade in his robot mode, but before we look at it, let's take some time to think about the character himself. Barricade is a character who originated in the Michael Bay movies, and who has become so popular that he now has a regular Generations release. Has that ever happened before? pretty cool. Oh, I personally really like it when a character who's not G1 is considered good enough to be hailed as a G1 guy, you know? I really like it when that happens because, I mean, G1, as good as it is, there is a lot more out there, and it is just so nice to see Hasbro acknowledging all the other stuff they've done. That said, though, I will admit I'm not really all that big a fan of the source material. Well, okay, that's not really fair to say, seeing as I actually haven't seen the first two movies. I've seen the third, fourth, and fifth one, and I really don't like them. Although, from what I've heard, the first one is the best of them, so maybe I should check it out someday. I mean, yeah, I'm sure Barricade was far from the worst thing about that film. But what are the figure we have in front of us? Well, apparently this is based on a G1 design of Barricade, which was based on the Datsun brother mold, and that's what they've gone with here. And yeah, I'm aware that there was like a Micromaster in G1 called Barricade, but this looks way cooler. So, let's get into the actual bot itself. Starting off with the head sculpt, which seems to have gone for a bit of a smokescreen type aesthetic. And it looks really nice. It's got this amber face to it, which is a colour not seen throughout the rest of the toy, so it does stand out. And it's also got a purple prowl crest on it. It looks really good, but my head kind of tilts slightly, which is a bit strange. And it's not because of a ball joint or something, because this is a mushroom peg, so it can't really tilt. It's a bit strange. The body seems to have gone for that classic configuration of front of the car is the chest and the door wings on the back, which does look really cool. Although I will say it does seem to have caught a bit of Armada Starscream on the back of it. Legs, on the other hand, are a bit odd. First off, the thigh is literally half the length of the shin, which is kind of strange. And second, the foot is literally just the back bumper. Which is what they did on the G1, and not gonna lie, it's actually kind of cool. They haven't tried to do anything with it, it's just back of the bumper. It's a foot. Deal with it. And it's pretty awesome, not least because it makes him look like he's wearing a pair of Shadow the Hedgehog rocket skates. Or, if you put the legs together, Segway mode! So overall, yeah, Barricade is a very good looking bot, and he also looks very much like an angry cop. If you don't believe me, allow him to demonstrate himself. Now coming to the accessories, Barricade does of course come with the two twin blasters that we saw in the vehicle mode, and they look pretty good, especially when he's dual wielding them. However, something I actually didn't find out for way too long was that if you put the two of them together, you can actually make a really nice double barreler, which looks great, especially when you put the Siege blast effects on them. Also, side note, did you know that these are actually compatible with Titan Return's Hardhead's gun? Now there's backwards compatibility for you. Also, I guess that the light bar is there as well. That's a thing. Oh, and before I forget, yes, you can totally do the whole shoulder gun thing, which I personally think looks better in robot mode. Now, onto the articulation. Head can rotate 360, and that's pretty much it. It is while I was attempting to say this that my sister poked her head through the door and told me that I was a weirdo. Arms can rotate 360, and can move out. 90 degrees at the elbow, bicep swivel, and a fist swivel. The door wings can hinge inwards and outwards to whatever angle you prefer them to be. Waist can rotate 360 degrees, the legs can move forwards and backwards, and can do the splits. Due to transformation, there is a full knee bend. Feet can move forwards, backwards, and there is a full ankle tilt. So overall some really good articulation, and also some really good balance, surprisingly enough. However, he does have a problem when it comes to posability, and that's the really short thighs. They're really out of proportion and do make some poses kinda difficult to do. Nevertheless, he is still quite fun to pose, and he can do all sorts such as this weird shape that I used to show off the foot articulation, doing a night watch, which is probably my most favourite of the lot, running after someone, standing on one leg, doing an Iron Man, or just posing with his guns. Also, due to the Siege combat system, you can of course go mad with the weaponizers on him. For size comparison, here he is next to Deluxe Sideswipe, Voyager Optimus, Leader Magnus, Commander Jetfire, Earthrise Grapple, Bumblebee Movie Optimus, and finally, all of the non-exclusive Siege Decepticons that were released except Soundwave. Why, what was up with Wave 2? So there was my review for Siege Barricade, and he's a really cool figure. He looks really good, he's got very good posability, his car mode's great, his transformation's fun, and he's also just a really fun figure. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about him that really makes you want to go around and just play with him. He's also really unique amongst the Siege line, seeing as he's a character who didn't exist in G1. He's a fan favourite character who's been retconned and put into it because they like the fans. Because people want him and they're getting him. It's just so nice and refreshing to see something like that. In the same way, it's just so nice to see a Skybite, or a Nautica, or a Lockdown Hooba-Dooba. I guess it is a bit random, but so what? That's the fun of it. And who would have thought that my first ever representation of one of the Datsun trio wouldn't even be one of the Datsun trio? And yes, I know they were all released in Siege, but I couldn't get any of them because they are all either online exclusives, Smokescreen, or America exclusives, Blue Streak, or members of waves that were apparently supposed to be released properly, but for some reason never showed up. Prowl. Well, I guess that's what Earthrise is for, and seeing as I could only have one version of this mould, I'm so glad it was Barricade, because he's just an awesome figure. So there you go. Great figure. Really recommend him. So, there's the Barricade review finally done. Sorry this took so long, guys, but it's finally here. So, who gets reviewed next? You know the deal now, just comment whichever one of these figures here you would like to see reviewed in the next video. But before you go, I'd just like to ask you guys something. I'm coming really close to 200 subscribers, and I want to do something for it, seeing as I didn't really do anything for 100 subscribers. So, I figured I'd ask you guys, anything you'd like to see? Anything that is really popular, I might see what I can do about it. So, thank you for watching, guys. See you soon.